Hey there everyone, in this video we're going to go over 50 locations for mole miner treasure hunters, as well as visit all 50 of those locations so you can minimize the amount of time searching for these guys and maximize the amount of pells you can get from the event. Also, if you look down in the description of this video, you'll find a link to my own personal map that I've created that's high resolution and easy to follow whenever the treasure hunter event comes around. So make sure to download the map to your phone or your computer for, easier reference. If you like videos like this, tips and tricks and walkthroughs, as well as humorous stuff, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Really like to have you part of this community. And if this video is helpful to you, please give the video a thumbs up because it tells other people, including me, that we're on the right track. Alright, so before we charge off into Appalachia, there's going to be a couple things that you want to take into consideration, especially if you're new and haven't done this before. And there's also Bethesda, which is kind of the unknown variable. They can change any part of this at any time, so there's always that. The first thing that we're going to want to take into consideration is that mole miner treasure hunters do not spawn in instance-based areas. So you won't see these guys behind a load screen such as Daily Ops or Top of the World. They just don't load in inner instances. Number two, and this is probably going to be a big one, if you go to a location and there's not a mole miner treasure hunter there, or you see it already dead, congratulations, someone beat you to it. And this will be commonplace, especially if you're playing on public servers. Number three, it's going to be super important to consider server hopping whenever you have to. And for the overall best results, if you have access to a private server, that's definitely the way to go. Number four, when Bethesda releases this event, pretty much everybody's going to jump on top of it, so the mole miner treasure hunters are going to be scarce, at least at first. And finally, with number five, in this video we're not going to cover any locations in Toxic Valley. Now, the mole miner treasure hunters are up there, you can find them, but there's just so far and in between that it's almost not worth your time. Let's begin our journey with Ash Heap. This is where it all started. And going to Lewisburg, you're going to be able to run around here and find 1, 2, 3, maybe even 5 mole miner treasure hunters at this location. Next, we'll jump the train tracks and head on over to Lake Reynolds. And in Lake Reynolds, you're going to find an old abandoned amusement park, as well as a bunch of mirelurks running around wanting to pinch your head off. And next, we'll go to Abandoned Mineshaft 3, which is a random spawn. Sometimes you'll run into ghouls and mole miners, as well as the occasional mole miner treasure hunter. Next, Abandoned Mineshaft 2. One of my favorite locations here. Sometimes you'll find as many as 2 at this location, but I consistently get 1 every time I come. Head on over to AMS Testing Site. Here I had to sneak in and see this one located in this trailer. I wanted to go in and kill him quickly, but I decided to leave him alone. I'm a nice guy. Now, Abandoned Mineshaft 1. Here's another fun place. Sometimes you can get as many as 2 at this location. Now move up to Mount Blair Trainyard, and here you have to go on the roof to find the mole miner treasure hunter. Good luck doing that. Let's move over to Welch, and in Welch you're going to run around here and find a bunch of other little mole miners trying to protect your mole miner treasure hunter. Get as many as 3 at this location. Scoot on over to Beckley. And in Beckley, you're going to find lots of robots, some scorched, and the occasional mole miner treasure hunter. Get as many as 3 at this location. Now head on over to Abandoned Mineshaft 4. And just like my friend Zed, the mole miner treasure hunter at this location loves red trucks and engines or something like that. Now let's head up to Brim Quarry. And here at Brim Quarry, you can get as many as 3 at this location. This one's a lot of fun too. Sneak around if you want to avoid all the other mole miners. And what visit could be complete without going to Camden Park? Head on over to the bumper cars or the roller coaster, and when you're done eating your cotton candy, kill the mole miner treasure hunters running around here. Get as many as 4. Now let's scoot over to the last destination, which is Abandoned Mineshaft 5. Here at Abandoned Mineshaft 5, you can get as many as 2 at this location, with the occasional random spawn. So let's get started with the forest. And the first place we'll visit is Tyler County Fairgrounds. Loaded down with scorched and plenty to do, grab your cotton candy and you can kill as many as 4 at this location for the treasure hunter mole miners. From there, we're going to go just north to Grove's family cabin, and there is a random spawn. Knock out that spawn and see if you can't find the treasure hunter mole miners located here. And if ice cream's what you're looking for in this apocalyptic Beverly Hills, then mole miner treasure hunters can be found at Lady Janet's Soft Serve. Look inside the trailer, you'll probably find one whipping up a banana split just for you. Next we have Grafton Steel, and even though it's not part of the forest and it's part of Toxic Valley, I still wanted to include it in this map. You'll find as many as 6 at this location. Watch out, there's tons of super mutants, so be careful. Just south, we're going to move down to Morgantown Airport, where you're going to find a lot of scorch and perhaps up to 3 mole miner treasure hunters running around. While we're over here near the airport in Morgantown, let's go ahead and go into the city and see if we can't find some mole miner treasure hunters running around in here. I've seen up to 4 running around at one time. Next, move down to White Powder Winter Sports, where you'll find a random spawn. Usually it's scorched, and after you dispatch all those good guys, go ahead and see if you can't find the treasure hunter mole miner. Now let's go ahead and jump over the river to Helvetia, where they have the Fashion Night Parade and up to 4 mole miner treasure hunters running around. Be sure to check out the church too. One likes to hide up there in the loft. Keeping our path south, we're going to travel down into Sutton, which is the overseer's hometown. Here you can find up to 2 treasure hunter mole miners. And while you're there, grab the quest from Davenport too. From Sutton, we're going to jump over to New River Gorge Resort. New River Gorge Resort is a little cabin area. You're going to have to search throughout several of the cabins, but you should be able to hone in on it pretty quick. From there, we're going to jump the river and head north to Alpine River Cabins, and when you arrive, if you hear noises, it's just the sounds of dead treasure hunter mole miners coming out from the grave. And now we're going to jump back across the river to New River Gorge Bridge West. Look underneath the bridge to find this mole miner treasure hunter. Now head on over to Silva Homestead. I'd like to say something nice about Silva Homestead, but really there's nothing really nice about it. There's just a mole miner treasure hunter here. If you've got the hankering for a Nuka-Cola, then Kanawha Nuka-Cola plant is the place you want to be. I really expect to see more treasure hunter mole miners at this location, but I consistently found one on the roof. And since we're down this way, we'll head over to Poseidon Energy Plant VW06 and we'll find up to 3 treasure hunter mole miners running around in this location. And when we're done with Poseidon, jump on over to AVR Medical Center. Scale your way to the top of the building where I found this guy waiting for me to claim his pail. A little further east and we're going to find Bleeding Kate's Grindhouse. The name alone makes this place awesome. Look around to see if you can't find the treasure hunter mole miner in this location. And now we'll head north to New Gad. Loaded down with super mutants, you can find up to 2 at this location, even though I don't understand why on the map it shows that there's water around this place. And last but absolutely not least is the Whitespring Golf Club, my favorite place to go for just about any occasion. You can find up to 5 at this location at any given time. And let's get started with Savage Divide. What better place to get started than the Palace of the Winding Path? And here you can find as many as 5 treasure hunters running around. Dispatch all the scorched and everything else is like shooting fish in a barrel. Who would want to shoot fish in a barrel? Next, we'll move down to Sunnytop Ski Lanes, and here you're going to run into some super mutants, and once you get rid of those guys, try to find a mole miner treasure hunter running around somewhere. Next, we're going to cut over to Autumn Acre Cabin, and at Autumn Acre Cabin, you're going to run into a random spawn. It could be anything, but dispatch that quickly and find your mole miner treasure hunter. From there, head on over to Pleasant Valley Ski Resort. You can get as many as 4 at this location. Remember to check out all the cabins in the back of the ski resort because sometimes they hang out back there too. Next, let's move down to Beckwith Farm. I tried to find something nice to say about Beckwith Farm, but really I just couldn't find anything. Just jump on top of this outhouse and do what you need to do. Next, we're going to visit the National Isolated Radio Array. Got plenty of super mutants here. Usually you can round up a couple of mole miner treasure hunters. Make sure you check out the warehouse in the back and the dock. Sometimes one likes to hang out back there. Next, we've got West Tech Research Center and the birthplace of the super mutants. But of course, you're going to see super mutants running around here as well as some mole miner treasure hunters. Make sure you check out the roof as well as the grounds in the back. I've found as many as 2 here. Next, we'll jump over to Investigator's Cabin. And Investigator's Cabin is actually a pretty scary place because this is where Bethesda sends quests to die. Kill your mole miner treasure hunter quickly here and get out as fast as you can. Just a little further south, we're going to go to Huntersville. And here in Huntersville, we're going to find a lot of super mutants, especially in the center of town. But if you're lucky, you can find as many as 2 or 3 mole miner treasure hunters here. South Mountain Lookout seems to be our last stop here in the Savage Divide. Kill the mole miner here quickly, or else if he detects you, he'll run up the stairs to the top of the tower, being a pain to try to catch up to. And now, the Mire. Gnarled Shallows is our first place to stop here in the mire. When you get here, a lot of times the mole miner treasure hunter will be located right here in the middle of the pond. Just chase him down really quick, or otherwise he'll start running and he'll end up in the next state, and then you'll have to deal with that. Next, we'll go down to Thunder Mountain Power Plant. And there's a workshop down here, as well as a bunch of super mutants. There should be a couple of these running around here. See if you can't find them both. Next, we'll go to Berkeley Springs. Berkeley Springs has as many as 3 running around here sometimes. Make sure you look inside all the houses and around the property to see if you can't find them all. Next, we'll head over to Harpers Ferry. This little old town's got as many as 5 at this location, so see if you can't find them all. Keep an eye out for the super mutants and Scortia tend to lurk around here too. Now we'll head down to the Treetops. Not one of my favorite places to go, but usually if you get here, you'll see the mole miner right off the bat. Just chase them down, collect his pell, and move on. Now let's get started with Cranberry Bog. And our first location is going to be Kerwood Mine. And Kerwood Mine was part of the Brotherhood of Steel expansion. Here you'll find a mole miner running around just on the outskirts of the cavern. Next we'll scoot over to Firebase Major. If you sneak through here, you might be able to avoid some of the ghouls running around. There's always a little mole miner just outside the tent. Now Firebase LT. Firebase LT, very much like Firebase Major, has a lot of Scorch running around. Try to avoid those guys too. In the Bootlegger Shack, if you're looking for some Nuka Shine, sneak through here, try to find the mole miner treasure hunter. Usually it's located on the inside. Now let's head on over to Abandoned Bog Town, one of my favorite workshops. Moving through here, you're going to find a lot of super mutants, even a super mutant behemoth, as well as some legendary mole miner treasure hunters. Now let's head over to Cranberry Glade. And I swear I chased this mole miner treasure hunter for 2 miles before I was able to catch up to him. If you let these guys get away from you, they'll definitely try. Next will be the Flooded Trainyard. Here you'll find some scallywagsters running around, as well as the occasional mole miner treasure hunter. And for our last location, Survey Camp Alpha is going to have a lot of random spawn. You may run into some robots here. Chase down the mole miner treasure hunter at this location, kill him in the tent, and get out. And that is 50 bona fide mole miner treasure hunter locations. And remember, the map that you can see here can be downloaded to your phone or your PC for easier reference. Its link is in the description. If this video was helpful to you, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like this kind of content, hit that subscribe button too. And I'll see you guys soon, somewhere in Appalachia. Take care.